So thank you everyone for joining us today. So I'd like to know how was the previous session. Faith was there. So maybe Faith, you can confirm to us what you learned in the previous session, and also if you're able to do the assignment before we proceed to our today's agenda. So today I'm here to ensure that I can be able to facilitate the session. Last session, I gave it to my colleague because where I was, I could not be able to do that. I was attending another Google I/O extended event, which was happening in Cape Town. So I could not be able to interact fully. So, but I just committed in late hours. So Faith, can you confirm to us what you're able to learn yesterday and not yesterday, sorry, last week, which was on Friday? And maybe if you have something for us, if you are able to do the assignment, maybe you have something for us, you can share so that we can have a look. So Faith, the floor is yours.
Hi everyone.
Hello too.
The last week's meeting was good. We learned on the use of VLOOKUP. And also there was a recap of week one's work. And also we learned how to use conditional formatting. Yeah, I think that's what I can talk about. And with the assignment, I can't share right now because I'm not yet done with it. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Thank you so much. Yeah, that's what we learned in the previous week. We talked about some basic Microsoft Excel functions like average, sum, count, and from there now we looked at some advanced functions like the VLOOKUP, and we have other homework that you are supposed to look at how the XLOOKUP work, how the HLOOKUP work, and how index and match work. So these are also functions that work similar, more or less, just like the VLOOKUP. So we usually use VLOOKUP to be able to fetch from a pool of data based on a unique identifier, which in database, we usually call it primary key. So that's what usually happens. So we were able to look at that. You can just have a look over, you can have a look at our previous recording, which is publicly on YouTube. You can be able to access and learn more about that. We had also conditional formatting, where we were learning on how you can be able to format different elements, let me just try to share my screen so that we can see maybe what some of the things that we can consider as conditional formatting. So suppose I have this data here, and let me say I want to format this profit column. I think you can see my screen. That's what I'm assuming, that you can see my screen. So suppose I select this data, and now I want to format it. So I'm just doing a demo of what we did last time. So under Home tab, you go to Conditional Formatting. So this data is the data you're going to use today, and we already have it, and the link is also there on the chat section, so you can just click on the link and be able to access the data. So for example, we want to format, we want to have some color scale. For example, let me not use color. Yeah, let me use color scale because they are values. So that now we can see how this color scale work. So green, yellow, and red. So I can just click like that. And now what does it mean? It means that we can go to manage rules, data, not data, home, conditional formatting here. We go to manage rules. You can see the rule we applied. So this is the rule we applied. This is the rule that we applied. So the rule is conducting a conditional formatting. So I can just click on edit so that we can see how the rule works. So the lowest value are being formatted with a red color. The highest values are being formatted with a green color. And then the middle point values are being formatted with a yellow color. So by that, with the 3 color scale, so you can change here, which color scale do you want? Do you want a 2 color scale or a 3 color scale? So we have a full video on all conditional formatting, all things you see on conditional formatting. We have a playlist already in the YouTube. So you can just access that and be able to learn more about that. So that's how we can be able to see the values that are higher and the values that are less using conditional formatting. So there is someone who's raising a hand, so I will just stop sharing so that I can just check. Yeah, so you can unmute, please. That's Hemstone. Or who was that? There was someone who had raised a hand, but okay, maybe it was a message. Let me check.
I don't see your screen.
Okay, okay. Faith, were you able to see my screen? Okay, yeah. So maybe, Stephen, when you experience such problems, sometimes you can just leave the call and come back so that you don't experience that in the future. You can leave and still, rejoin. Yeah, thank you. Okay, so that's how we do conditional formatting. And you can find a full video on conditional formatting on our YouTube channel so that you can learn more about that. So I'll just show you, I'll share the screen again. So this column, this dataset, we already have it. It's the same dataset that you've been receiving notification in the email with about the dashboard data. So that data is the one we are using here. So once we have this, now we can be able to see the colors with green are the values that are higher. So I will request someone who is unmuted to mute. I'll request someone who is unmuted to mute, or else, okay, thank you. Thank you. Thank you, thank you. Let me stop sharing so that I don't see a multiple screen. Yeah, so first of all, let's confirm that we have the data now before we go to today's agenda. So as Faith told us, last week, we were able to cover about some functions, basic functions on Microsoft Excel. We were also able to cover about conditional formatting and a recap of week 1, where we had how to use forms, data entry in Microsoft Excel, the normal data entry and the use of forms in Microsoft Excel. Also, doing data validation with Microsoft Excel is also there. So all these videos are already public in our YouTube channel. Beyond the Data Solution is our YouTube channel. So you can be able to go there and learn a lot. There are other pre-recorded sessions with Microsoft Excel, concepts like conditional formatting and other tricks in Microsoft Excel that you can be able to learn and get started. So today's agenda is about data visualization in Microsoft Excel. So if you have the data set, please raise your hand. The data set is in the chat section. The link to the dataset in the chat section, known as drive.google.com. So when you click on it, it will automatically download the data. So maybe you can just raise your hand to confirm that you already have the data so that we can start our today's session. Thank you, Faith. If you have the data, please raise your hand. That means that you are ready to get started. Okay, thank you, Stephen. If you have not seen the data set, please check the chat section again. I'm sending the data set in the chat section. Yeah, so there we go. So I'll again start sharing my screen. And now that I will be sharing the entire screen, I will have challenges on navigating back to the main screen because we will have multiple casted screens. So it cause mayhem. So just ensure that you unmute and tell me if you cannot be able to see my screen so that I don't go far and we cannot be able to see my screen. So can you please confirm that you can see my screen so I am clearing the rule that I have here on the entire sheet. So let's confirm we have the data and we have the, you can see my screen. Let's confirm you can see my screen. Thank you. Thank you. Okay. So this data, we are going to use it to learn about some data visualization in Excel. So here we can see we have country, we have product, we have units sold, we have revenue, we have cost, we have profit, and then we have here the date. So in this session, we are going to look at how to build interactive charts in Microsoft Excel. But before that, we can just have a look at the static charts in Microsoft Excel, how it works. So for us to use static charts in Excel, we will have, first of all, to start by creating a new sheet. Static charts in Excel, we create a new sheet. So this sheet, I want to call it static charts, static charts, static charts, static charts, like that. And then this sheet, I want to call it data. I want to call it the database. So I'll just rename this main sheet to database. So suppose database, and then this is the static charts. And now we can get started. So first of all, the first thing we are going to do is to populate. If we want to access profit, if you want to access profit, remember we are plotting static charts. So we want to access maybe something like country by profit, country by profit. So we must have country here, and then we have sum of profit here, sum of profit. So remember, to plot static charts, we must first of all use the concept of, let me just maximize, zoom out a little bit. Just zoom out a little bit to custom 125. Custom 125. Yeah, so we are creating two columns here, country and sum of profit. So I will be using functions in Excel for me to populate data from this end to this other end. So I will start by, I want to populate the countries that we have. In Excel 2021, we can have a unique function known as unique, but this is 2019, so it doesn't have that function that we call unique to be able to return the unique values. However, for the countries, we can just use pivot table to populate that, and then we will copy that. So for us to do that, we will create a pivot table. So you Control A to select everything, or you click anywhere in your data, and then you go to insert, then you go to pivot tables, and then under pivot tables, select a data range. So it will detect the data range, and then new sheet, you will click on the new sheet. It will of course be at that point, and then you click OK. So it will be building a pivot table in a new sheet. So we are going to take country into rows, country into rows like that, you can see. And then we take the profit into column. So, but we will not take it to column, we'll take it to values. Could have placed it in column, but you're going to take it into values, but it will be there as columns. So that is the country by profit. So you can see the unique countries are here. So I want us to take these unique countries and then paste here under countries, so that we can have the unique countries. Yeah. So I have just populated the pivot table to create for me these summaries. But what if we don't want to use the pivot table? So you have to get the unique countries, and then we can be able to say equal to. Here now we want now to sum of profit if the country is India. So here we are going to use a function in Microsoft Excel known as SUMIF. So we are going to use sum if. Sum if range is the range of the data, the range of the data set. So the range for the data set. So for me, I'll just click here and then control A. No, I'll click here, control shift, and then the drop down arrow. Control shift the right arrow to select to the right, and then holding control shift the drop down arrow on your laptop or your desktop on your screen. So it will be able to select your entire data range. So that's what we call range. So you select the entire range like that. And then from there you separate with a comma. Separate with a comma. Under the here you separate with a comma. You separate with a comma. So that's what we are doing. You separate with a comma that data. Here, this is the data known as database. So it has collected that the entire range for the database. I'm supposed just to use here the sum if. Sorry. Yeah, the sum if. So use the sum if, you select the data range from that other sheet. That's why it is referencing to it. And then from there, you now just delete this so that we can work together. We can see that. From there now we provide the criteria. So the criteria is that we want to sum when it is equal to India. So I'll just select this cell A3, comma, then the sum range. Then I provide the sum range. So the sum range, I'll go back to the database here and select a column for profit. Select a column for profit. So I'll come here, click on profit, control shift, and the drop down arrow to select the entire column for profit, like that. And then I will close my function here. So it will be able to return that. So this is what is happening. It will be able to return the profit for India. So you first of all start by selecting the range of your data. You provide the criteria, which is India. You reference to it, or you can put it in quotes with similar name, with the same name, and then you provide the range for your sum range. I'll just make it simpler for everyone. So what we are doing with sum if is that, for example, I have here cup. Okay, I have here products, product name and maybe price. Okay, let me have product there, then price. So, and then I have here table, chair, and I have here plate, and then I have here table. So what we are doing here, we can have the amount of the table, maybe the price. These are demo values that I'm using here so that we can be able to understand how the sum if function work. While in the same, why am I having same values? Anyway, yeah. So like that. So sum if works like this. So you start by calling the function sum if, you open a parenthesis, you provide the range of the data. So the range of the data, for my sake, I will select like this. That's the entire range, comma. The criteria is the table. So I can provide the table, the name table in the quotes, or reference to that cell. We usually prefer referencing so that we can easily drag down the other aspects to apply on the other cells rather than again writing the same function. So you usually refer to the title. But this is usually important when you do this. That means that you are using for the unique cases. So this is what is happening. So we want to somewhere we have table in our entire data, comma. The sum range, now we provide the column for price, this column for price. So you can just provide this column for price. And then you can now hit your enter, and now it will be able to sum this value. It will be added to this value for you to get this value here. So that's what is happening here. That's what this function is doing. Only that we are referencing to another sheet. That's why you see Excel references like this to another sheet. So we can be able to apply this to the other cells by dragging down like this. So we just need to assert that our function is locked. So like this, our function is not locked. So these other values are not true. because our functions are relative. That means that our tables are going to change while we are dragging down. So let's just confirm that they are not true. Only India value will be true, but for other cases will not be true. So let's check the pivot. So when we check the pivot results, we have this, which we have here, 450816, which is here in the static. And then we come here to Malaysia. You see the table range changed from A1 to A2. And then this one adjusted from 526 to 527. So it's supposed to be locked. So this will provide us with the false data. So you need to take care while doing that. This value is not the same as the value that we have here. 554, 554. Luckily, the first row is true because it's the same because the first row contains the column names. So it is likely to be the same. Let's check this one. This one, you see, it has also adjusted to, let's check here. This one has also adjusted to A3. So you're supposed to lock so that these ones that do not move. The only one that is allowed to move is the range, the criteria, sorry, the criteria. So this one is not true. So let's check that 364. You see here it is 36, 15, 36, 15, 36, 15, 229, 229. Yeah, so it's the same though, but that means that first of all, the values that are in the first, that are located in the first place are only for India. So that's why these are happening to be true, but care should be taken that we don't go out of range. So for us to prevent this, we come here and lock cells. So you have to lock your cells. So you lock them, you make them absolute using a $sign before and after the alphabet, the range. Just here, before A, you put a $sign. After A, you put a $sign to lock this A, to lock this one. Before G, you lock. After G, you lock. And then you do the same to the sum range, because the sum range is not also supposed to change. So you lock it, you make it absolute like this. You make it absolute like this, and then you press enter. So this one will not affect other cases. So that's now okay because everything is now locked. So that's how it's supposed to look like. Now, this value, we populated them using pivot table here. So let me rename this sheet to pivot table. So when we want, I just want to confirm if we are all there before we proceed now to another thing. So this is the sum function. So I just want to know if we are together so far. Can I see some reaction? Anyone who is left behind? Anyone who is left behind? Anyone who is left behind? If you are together, please show me your thumbs up. If we are together, please show me your thumbs up so that we can proceed. Can I see your thumbs up? Just stop sharing a little bit so that I can concentrate here. Yeah, thank you, Faith Kahindi. Thank you. Jackson, are we together? I did not understand the sum if. Thank you, Stephen. Jackson, are we together? Jackson, if you're there. Lois, can you confirm with us if you're together with us, please? So far with the sum if. The data is in the chat section. Oh, thank you, Lois. Jackson, we kindly repeat or too fast. Okay, thank you for that notification. Yes, Jeff, are we together?
You can hear me now?
Yes, yes.
Cool. I think I'm having issues with my internet. Sorry for that. So
Oh,
I was saying,
yes.
Maybe you can pardon on how you lock the cells. I didn't
Okay.
get that part.
Okay,
Okay,
thank
cool.
you. Okay. All right, so I'll share the screen again and I will repeat the process.
Okay, okay, thank you.
So we have done for the country and the sum of profit. So we want to do the same for product. So I think from there we will understand how it works for the products that we
Yes.
have in this main data set here. So
Yeah.
I'll start by populating the pivot table for me to realize the unique cases that I have here in the product. So for me to be able to do that, I will go to the data set and then go to insert, then go to pivot table. So I click pivot table. And then now this time around, I will not ask it for a new worksheet. I will change to existing worksheet. So here is where I change to existing worksheet. And then now it will ask me for location. So I'll just click here, just click this arrow here. I click this arrow. And then I go to the sheet known as pivot table where I want to see that summary, that pivot table. So I click down here after my first pivot table. So I click down here and then I click this arrow back. This arrow, I click it to see the entire pivot table. So I see my pivot table is going to be populated at cell A12. And then I click on OK. Like that. And then now we have said we are looking at product. So I take product to the rows like this. And I take the profit by product. So that's profit by product to the values like that. So that is that case. So I take this. So I'll just rename this to product. I'll name this to country. So I'll take this product unique values to somewhere in static charts. Below this, I'll paste here. I'll call this product, the way we did for country. So we have now the names here. So we need to populate the sum of profit for each product. So I'm repeating the sum if here. So to repeat the sum if here, you say equal to, remember, we repeated using the same in the same sheet location here. But now we are going to reference to another sheet. That's why you see it seems to be long and complicated, but it's not that complicated. It's straightforward. So you see, this is the case for within the same sheet. You just provide the range, which is the range, and then you provide the criteria, which is G4. Criteria is table, and then you provide what is the sum range. Which column are you summing? That's what we call sum range. So we are going to do that here. So I'll say equal to, and then say sum if, and then open the bracket. Equal to sum if, I open the bracket. The range, I go to the database here. I go to the database, the range, go to the database, click on cell A1, click on cell A1, click on cell A1, Control, Shift, right arrow to select everything to the right in that row, in that first row. And then Control, Shift, drop down, the down arrow on your laptop or on your keyboard, drop down arrow. Click on the drop down arrow to select everything to the bottom. Like that. You can see the selection is here in the formula bar. So I will separate this with a comma. I'll just go back to my static sheet. I will still get it while it's active. You see it's active here. It is asking me the static sheet. So I'll just delete this and then come back here and then now change this. I want to reference it to chocolate. So you see it is now referencing to this sheet, static charts sheet. That's the first product we are referencing to as the criteria. We want to sum profit based on the first product, comma, sum range. I go back to the database. I go to the column known as profit. Here, mine is F1. Then I control shift, drop down, the down arrow to select everything to the bottom. You can see the selection here in the formula bar. And then I will close this my function here. I will close it here like this. So when I go back to the static sheet where the function was, I'll get values here. I'll get values here. So these values are the sum of profit for that product. So I have to lock this before I drag down. So for me to lock, I come here. In between the exclamation mark and A, I put the $sign for absolute cell referencing to lock the table range, the range to lock the range like that. And then I do the same to lock the other side also for the sum range. I will also lock my sum range like that. And then I'll press enter. I'll press enter. And then I'll drag this down by raising my cursor to the bottom right corner, drag down. I will have populated the sum for these cases. And then now I can go to home and format this as money. So I'll just maximize this so that now I can see it as money. I will also do the same for this. Under home, under general here, I'll click on accounting so that it can be money in terms of dollars. Any challenge so far? Ensure that you have the two outputs. This one is not necessary because it's not part of the plan. So I'll clear it. So far, let me see where we are. So I'll start with
Questions.
Yes, Stephen.
Do you make a two pivot table, or it is one combining them?
We are creating pivot table in the same sheet. Two pivot
One.
tables in the same sheet.
Two. Okay.
Yes. Yes. Jackson, are we together now?
Yes, we are, but I'm having the results, but I cannot explain what is happening.
Okay, you can share your screen, please. You can share your screen, please, Jackson, and we are going to use your laptop to populate the results for, let me see, country by revenue. So we are going to use your laptop to populate that. So you can just proceed and share your screen so that it can be easier to understand while we are talking. Yeah. Okay. So that one was for country. Now, okay, you did not populate the function for static. So you use equal to sum if there where you are equal to if equal to sum if equal to sum if, click on it, double click on it. Then now you select the range. So the range is the range of the data set, which we call the database. So you go to the database sheet, then you go to the top of your data, the top of your data, the top of your data. First of all, ensure you are at the top of your data. Then put your cursor in cell A1, then Control Shift, hold Control Shift at the same time, and then click on your right arrow on your keyboard, right arrow. Have you done that?
Yes, I think I've done that.
Then, while still holding Control Shift, press the down arrow. Yes, it has selected.
Yes.
Then you can see the function in your function bar there,
Yes.
FX bar. Now put a comma there after that. So go to, you are supposed to provide criteria. You can see it's telling you now criteria is active. So to provide the criteria, you go back to your static charts sheet and select India. Select India. So when you select India, you see the range that has been selected there is for the country known as India. You can see you put a comma after that. Then you go to the database. You're supposed to select the sum range, like which are we are summing India from which range, from which sum range. So you can now select that profit column. Put on the profit column, make the cell active for F1, and then Control Shift drop down. Control Shift drop down. And then close your function. Close your function bracket. Then you can press enter while just there, or you can go to the static sheet. Yeah. So you can see you have your sum there. So for you to apply that to the other cells down, you have first of all to lock the cells to be absolute, to make your table cells to be absolute. So you go to that cell B2, and then you will see the function in your formula bar. So you have to lock from the exclamation mark, put a $sign in between the exclamation mark and A. And you also put the $sign after A. And then you also do a $sign before.
Hold on.
Yes.
A second.
Put a $sign between A and 1.
Yeah.
Yes, and then put a $sign before G and also after G. That's what we are locking our range, both in the going down and also going high. Have you locked Jackson? Jackson, if you can hear me, I don't know if I'm the one who is not seeing Jackson laptop moving. Can someone confirm that, or I'm the one who is having a problem? I can't see Jackson's cursor moving. Can Stephen confirm if you can see?
Yeah,
I think
power
he had
me out.
Okay.
I'm
Yeah.
on my
So
phone. I'm sorry for that.
okay. So just lock that. You can still share your screen and you proceed. So interpretation will be done once we've understood what's happening. So we'll be able to interpret that once we see the values that everyone is having. And we will also present that in the chat form so that we can easily interpret and know what's happening with the data. So Jackson, are you able really to proceed with sharing? Just confirm with us.
I was saying power is out at my place.
Oh, okay, okay. Oh, okay, 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 Jackson. Sorry about that. So you will follow along. I think the video will be shared with you, so you will follow along. Okay. So Faith, Kahindi, are we together? Are we together? You can either unmute or react. Okay, thank you. Lois, are we together? Lois, are we together? Yeah, thank you. So I think that's a confirmation that we are together. So I'll just proceed again and share the screen so that we can proceed. So now we have the country by profit, and then we have the product by profit, or profit by product. So we are going to proceed. Now that's how we use the SUMIF function to do that. And now we want to proceed and produce dynamic charts. We will just proceed and sorry about that. Okay, so we'll just proceed and produce the static charts, and we'll start with the first chart will be about the distribution of profit by country. So I'll select the range of my profit by country here, and then go to insert. And then from insert here, I can either choose to view my data as a column chart or a bar chart, either a column chart or a bar chart. So, or I can choose to to view it as a 2D or a 3D, but in most cases prefer using the 2D unless otherwise, or you can view your chart using the bar chart here. You can view your results on using a bar chart here, a 2D or a 3D. So I'll just proceed and maybe use simple column chart here. So this is the column chart that I have selected, the first one. So I'll just change here the title, and I will call this profit by country, profit by country, profit by country. So this is the first static chart we have produced. And maybe we can make some adjustment on the chart. For example, we can click here and add axis title to our charts so that we can name, check this to add axis title, so that we can name our titles for the axis. So this one, we will name it to be country. And then this other side, we are going to name it to be product, to be not product, to be the profit, sum of profit. So that's what we've done there. So you can choose to adjust your chart the way you want. You can also change the colors, the chart, under fill here. You can choose how you want to fill your colors. So you need to take care to ensure that the filling of your colors are kind of professional, depending on how you want to view that. You can change the font colors for this. You just select here that, and then you go to under home, you just change this color here to a deeper dark color. You can do the same also for country. You click on country here, the axis. You go to home, and then you click here. You just change the font color to a deeper dark color. The same to sum of profit. You go to home. You click on this dark color. So the same should happen for profit. The title, axis title, not the axis title, the main title, also turn it to a deeper dark color. You can remove the grid lines by clicking on the grid lines, any of the grid line, and then backspace to remove it. So you remain with your chart without the grid line. So that's how we produce a static chart. Static chart means that this chart cannot play around. It is static. It's just like an image, but it can only change when we change values here. It will automatically change when we change values here. But that's not the case. So we can add data labels on the charts under here. We can add the data labels here. You click here to add the data labels. You add data labels. And you can also position where you want your data labels to be, either at the center, inside the end, inside the base, outside data call out. You can call out data like this. That is if you want. Okay, so that is it. You can produce a data table. The table you see down there that shows, you see, this table that you see down here, you can also add it if you want to show the exact values, but you can remove the data labels here and maybe use the data table here. Like that. There's no meaning for adding legends because everything is standing on its own. Also, care should be taken to ensure that we don't use a lot of colors, varying colors, while we are measuring a simple bar chart. So we can sort these values so that our chart can also be sorted. We right click on the values here in the column known as sum of profit, then right click, then go to sort. Under sort, you can sort largest to smallest, and then your chart will now be sorted. Your chart will now be sorted. Starting with the United Kingdom is the smallest, and then United States, and then India, and then Malaysia, and then Philippines, having the highest profit of $450. So that's how we produce a simple column chart. We can proceed and also do the same for the product here, so that we can see the profit by product. So for us to do that, we do the same process we did for country. So you select the range of your data. For me, I'll just leave out the product and sum of profit. Select like this. I'll go to insert. This time round, I want to use a bar chart, simple bar chart. You click on that. So this is how the bar chart looks like. So I can just maximize that. So bar chart allows me to display all long full names for the charts. And then this I'm going to call it profit by product. Profit by product. Simple as that. So I will add chart title if I feel axis title if I feel I need. Like here, I can call this now the sum of profit. Sum of profit. And then this side, I can call this product. Product. The same procedures we did. So I'll click on this product, go to home, give it this color to make it bright, dark, bright. Home, give it a dark color. Here's where you change the colors. I'll do the same for the sum of profit, axis title, and also give it the same color. I can do the same for the values as well. Give it a shining dark color. The same can also happen to the other vertical axis. I give it the same color. So maybe I can decide to change the colors of my bars, or even to change. I'll just use that. I'll just change the color here. So I'm going to fill this using let me see if I can fill with a solid color. Sometimes if you want a gradient color, you can come here to gradient and you can fill it with any other color that you feel you want. Or you can use even picture texture like that. Or you can use patterns here. But you need to take care because you need to be professional. So I'll just make use of the solid color. So you can change this solid color that you want here, so that you can reflect the structure of your organization, if you want to do that. So I will just minimize my chart a little bit. This is, so for bar chart, we focus on horizontal layout. For bar chart, we focus on horizontal layout. So it must be long for it to be well. For column chart, we focus on the vertical look. Vertical look. So this one we focus on the horizontal look. So Control Z, and then drag this to where you want, like that. So this is how we produce static charts in Microsoft Excel. So these charts are static in such a way that they cannot be able to, just move this a little bit. Okay. So they are static in such a way that they can only change when we change the values. We cannot click anywhere to change them. So we want to produce just similar results, but dynamic charts. We want to produce similar results, but dynamic charts. So first of all, what do we see here? We see that chocolate chip, we can just sort this. We can just sort some also for the product to see which product is having the highest profit. So you click anywhere in the values that you have, and then go to sort, and then largest to smallest. So like that. So the first value we have here is chocolate. So the chocolate chip is the one that has the highest profit. The same, we do that, we can see white chocolate has the second, and so on going down. So that's what is happening here. And our chart has also been developed using the same methodology of sorting. So we can say that chocolate chip is the one that has the highest profit. So sometimes we may also need to do that by product by country. So using functions sometimes now becomes advanced. It becomes more complicated and very long. So you can just do that, populate the same using the pivot tables. But let's now proceed to go and produce similar charts in pivot table. So we already have the pivot tables here for the same. So what we do, just click anywhere in your pivot table, then go to analyze. Pivot table you want, for example, country. then go to analyze, then go to pivot chart. You see, the chart is already recommended here for you, and is actually the chart we want. However, you can change other type of charts depending on how you want. And then you can click on OK. And then you'll have here your pivot chart. So I will just hide these field buttons. So by right clicking here and go to hide all field buttons on the chart, it will be able to hide all these buttons. The way we did in the first case, you can just remove this legend. It does not have meaning, occupying space for nothing. So you can change this from total, this title from total. We are going to call it product country, profit by country. Profit by country. And then from there, we are going to add here. So we can add the axis titles the way we did in the other side. So we are going to change the axis title here. This is the country. And then this is the sum of profit. Sum of profit. And then I can now change these colors the way I want. When I want to change the color of the bar, so I click on a bar. I can right click on it and then fill with the color I want. So depending on which color you feel is good to you, you can give it the color. You can also give the color for the outline, the border color for the charts. That's what we call outline. So you right click, go to the outline, you can give it the outline you want. Because you can also change the width, the settings for the outline. If you want dashed or you want heavy, you can the solid one, and also you can change the weight of the outline. You can see my weight has changed because it's white and the background is also white. So maybe I change this color for the outline to something like red. You see? So under outline, I'm changing that to something so that you can see what outline means. Let me change to not really, maybe something like that. Yeah, so that's what we call outline. So you can change also that the depth, the weight of the outline by going to here, and then you can change that to something you want. But you can also choose to not have the outline. So that's how that works. That's how that works. So we can just change these colors to, maybe we also format this as money. So we just select this. Under home, we change this to accounting. We will also change this later. So we can change these colors. Under home, font color, we change it to a dark color. The same way to this, so that our chart can be nice like that. Similar to this side as well. Home, change the colors here. Here also, home, we change the color. And the profit by product, by country here, we change also that. So that's what we do. So we can also change on how we want our plot to be like under format. We can go to format, and then under this, we can click more here to see how we want our chart to be like. So we can have any view that we think is good for us to present our charts in. So we can be able to change and be able to see how our charts look like. So maybe we go with that, maybe, and then we change this color again to something Yeah, something like that. Anyway, if it's the best. Also, we said you go to format. To do that, you go to format and change those things here, the things you want. Also, you can change how the chart is being presented under chart shape effects here. So you can decide to have some things here. You can see those changes if you are keen. If you are a designer, you can venture into the in-depth layout of your charts. You can see how those things are changing. So let me go to the 3D rotation. That one is not, if you want them to glow, you can make your charts glow. Let me just use the one of these, maybe this one. So that's what we mean. When I click out, you can see now it's like a chart is inside a frame. So there's a lot of things you can focus on while building your dashboard so that it may look more professional. So we can also produce the same for the product, and then I will allow a room for question. So I will select this and then go to home, first of all, to format this as accounting. And then from here, I click anywhere in my Power Pivot, in my pivot table, and then go to analyze, and then go to chart, pivot chart. So I'm also being provided here with one of the pivot charts here, but I'll go for the bar chart, just the way we had the other one. And then I'll click on OK. So I'll just drag this aside so that I can create a room for this one. So I'll right click on this and hide all field buttons. Give it a title. My title is Profit by Product. So maybe sum of profit by product anyway. Then we say that the orientation for this chart is focusing on horizontal orientation. So we just have to ensure that we maximize, we remove the legend here, and then we can maximize our chart. Its orientation is focusing on the vertical spectrum. And then this we can also, like that, so that we can see all the values. So you can also make adjustments on the chart title, color, font color to dark, similar to the vertical axis. We also do the same for the vertical axis. And we also do the same for the horizontal axis. And if we want to change the color, we can also change the color here. However, we can come here under font, format, then we can come here, and now we can change to the way we want our chart to be like. So let me just put it somewhere where we can see the changes that are happening to it. Sometimes it can be a time saver, or we come to design, and you can see the existing designs, how they look like. So maybe if this design is interesting you, you can just click on this design, and you can make use of this design instead of taking a lot of time for designing your own design. However, at the end of it all, while building a complete dashboard, you can be able to change the theme of your dashboard. So these charts are dynamic. Why are they different from these other charts? This is because it's not about the colors and stuff. This is because these charts can be dynamic. So suppose we come to click anywhere on our pivot, like this one, and then we come to design, under analyze, you can see we can insert a slicer here. So you can insert a slicer, let's say maybe product. So maybe we click OK. So maybe we want to, you see now our charts can be dynamic here. We are inserting a slicer here so that the profit chart profit by country chart can change based on the product. So we can see how each product is doing in each country. We can see how each product, each country is doing in terms of profit by product. This is like profit by product, what we see here. So like, for example, chocolate chip, what is its profit in India? Contributing to what profit? And the same, when we look at our pivot table, is being filtered based on this slicer. Pivot table, this pivot table for the country is being filtered based on this slicer. So you can see is also changing at the same time based on the product. We can also select multiple products by clicking here to enable that. So you can see based on multiple products like that. So let me first of all take questions before I repeat this step. Let me take questions before we proceed. Let me take questions before we proceed. So I'll pause sharing and then I'll share once you've asked a question, if there is any. Yes. Any question? Any question? Any question? Faith, do you have a question? Faith, do you have a question? Hemston, do you have a question? Jeff, do you have a question? Jackson, do you have a question? If everything is okay, you can show me thumbs up so that we can see if we can be able to proceed. Thank you, Faith. Thank you, Jeff. Thank you, Jackson. So I believe we are okay. Okay, so that was a nice one. Thank you, Hemston. So again, I'll proceed and share screen. So that's how we can visualize data. So let's go in depth. So let me take this dynamic chart somewhere. So let me create another sheet. I'm creating a new sheet, taking it far end, right click, rename it to dashboard. Dashboard. And then I will remove these grid lines and also maybe change the color. So I'll click here and under background, not image, not image, not image, page layout. Let me first of all start by changing the view. I want to remove the header. I want to remove the formula bar. I want to remove the grid line for this. And then under home, I want to format this with a dark color for the dashboard. So I can go to my pivot table here and take these charts. These charts are dark and the background is also dark. So you'll see what we'll be able to do with that. So sorry, Control Z. So I'll take this chart somewhere here. It's very dark, like it's in the house, but we'll see what we can do. So I will just maybe right click here and the outline, give it a white outline. And also maybe I can change the weight of the white outline if I want to do so. Yeah, I can give it that outline. Yeah, and then I can the same also. I take this other chart that we already have under profit here. I cut. I take it here. So this one, I can take it here. Okay, let me just have it aside here. Let me just have it here. Yeah. So we proceed with building more pivot tables here. Now we have stopped using the static charts. We have seen we cannot be able to make these things, filter these things based on what they have. So you'll stop using these functions, but you can proceed and also see how you can do what you want to do in pivot table with functions. You can use the sum ifs, you can join more than one functions in Excel for you to produce a result. So we'll proceed with developing more pivot tables here so that we can finalize building our dashboard. So we will go to the data tab, the database tab, database sheet, and then click anywhere in our sheet. So we are going to data, not data, under insert, pivot table, and then go to the existing worksheet, click here, under location here, click here, and then go to where you want your pivot to go. So maybe I want my pivot to go here. I'll just click here, and then now click on OK. Then now this time around, we want to check, let me say we want to check profit by country. Let me take country to row and take product to column. And maybe we want to look at the revenue of each product by country, the revenue of each product by country, revenue of each product by country. So this is the sum of revenue, and then sum of revenue is the values here. Then this row labels are representing the country, and then the column labels are representing the product. Hope you've seen what I did. I just took the country to rows, take the product to column, take revenue to values, so that we can produce a static column chart for this. We can produce a static column chart for this. So let's produce that static, not static, dynamic column chart for this, which is stacked. Yes, stacked, not static. Then I go to and click anywhere in your pivot table, go to insert, and then go to here, this drop down, and then select simple static stacked column chart, so that you can have something like this. So I'll hide all field buttons on this chart, hide all field buttons like that. I will add a title to this chart. So I'll add a title here, and I will say sum of revenue by product per country. Sum of revenue by product per country. So I'll change this color to the color that we are using here, so that it can be brightener like that. I can also do the same here, like that. So once I have that, I will not do a lot of things on this chart, but however, I can just label the axis. This is the country. And then this is the sum of revenue. Of revenue. And then I can change this color, also font color here to dark, and also this font color to dark. I will take this chart also to the dashboard. So I'll cut it here and take it to the dashboard. So it is a column chart. I'll just have it here. I will minimize other charts so that we can have, just minimize these other charts. that we can have simple things that are. So I'll minimize like that. This one also. I think I'll have their line chart. So let me have here this column chart. So once I have this one, I need to know where it stops. So I need to add the outline. However, we'll see how we'll be able to do other things. So just add an outline so that I can see where it's ending. So we'll produce the last chart. Okay. So we can produce another chart, which is a line chart. But now line chart, hope we are together before we proceed from here. Hope we are together so that I can produce another chart. I think I will stop sharing and see if we are together. Let's confirm if we are together. For those who have joined us, in the chat section, I will share again the data. Thank you, Faith. Thank you, Faith, for that. So I'll share again the data here. So here is the data. You can have a look of what we are doing. So I'll proceed to share my screen again. So this is the sum of revenue by product per country. So I need to produce another chart, which is a line chart. And the line chart is going to be representing. So this time around, I am not going to go and produce another pivot table in the data view. So I'll just copy this and paste somewhere here. And then I'll be changing this. Sorry about that. Let me just delete this. Is unnecessary. Cancel. Let me go back to the pivot table. Sorry about that. So I just want to right click here and then go to pivot table options. Not pivot table options, the right click and let me go to show details. Still leading me here. Let me delete this. I don't want this. Don't want that. So I just want to show field list. So I'll go to show field list. So click show field list and change. Maybe we want to see the sales per month. Sorry, want to overlap another table. Okay, so I will just remove that here. I'll just remove that here. It wants to overlap another table, so I'll just remove this here. Clear. I will just remove here. Let me just copy this, paste it here so that it doesn't overlap anything. So that it does not overlap anything. So at least it will be better for us. So let's go to also the same thing under show field list. So we don't want to use country. We want to use the date here in rows. So I take date into rows. Date into rows. We said we want to produce a line chart. So we want to see the number of units sold per month, number of units sold per month, number of units sold per month. So I'll take the units sold to the values and I take the date to the date. Just take date to the row. And then from there now we have date, so month, you can just call this month like that. so that now from here we can now produce a line chart. So I'll go to analyze and then go to pivot charts, change this to a line chart, like this one, then click on OK. So we have here a simple line chart. We can hide the field buttons on it, hide all field buttons, and change the title here. Sorry, change the title here to number of units sold, sum of units sold, sum of units sold per month. Per month. Then I can remove this legend. I can add the chart title, the axis titles again. This is month. Just remove this. This is month, and then this is the units sold, sum of units sold. We can do a lot with the data, but this is just learning. So we'll just do a few things. So under home, we'll make these colors be something we want. That, then I can hide this legend colors, the grid lines. Also do the same for the sum of profit itself. And then I can take this chart to the dashboard. So sorry, Control Z. Sure you take the whole. Let me just scroll up a little bit. And there you go. So let me just check something that I can do else with the data so that I can fill here. So I'll go to data. So we have cost. We have cost there. So let me just check cost of maybe each product. Sometimes it might be interesting to look at the cost for each product. So I can produce a simple bar chart to put here for that case. So let me minimize this here and do that. So I'll go to the pivot here. I will copy one of the pivots like this one, or even that one. I can copy, or there's already one here. So I can just right click here and go to show feed list. And now remove this country and bring here product. And then we have said we are looking at the cost of each product like that. So we have that covered. So I can close there. And now I can produce a vertical horizontal bar chart. So the reason why we are not using pie chart here is because we have a number of these items. We could have used it, but it's not good for a number of items when we have more than one. But we can just make use of, let me try to, because this pivot table, so it will not allow other charts to be able to populate what we want to populate. Like this one cannot allow, that one cannot allow. Maybe you can use an area chart if you want, but doesn't make that sense. So we just go with the bar chart. So column chart is not used, though it's categorical data based on the product, but now it's not that sense when we see a lot of things like this. But we can consider it just purposes of learning, so that we can have different that. So I right click here and hide all feed buttons. Maybe I can click on this cell, this inside the slicers and click on add data labels, then click on add data labels. So I can add data labels inside, or I can right click and go to add data labels, format data labels, and maybe I format these data labels the way I want. I can add the percentages instead of the exact values. So I can remove the values and remain with the percentages so that we can see how each product is contributing to the total cost of the product. And that is it. We can also change the call out, the way we want our data to be called. So we can call the data out like that, outside, and like that. So let me just take that as a simple way of doing it. So I'll change the title here to cost, sum of cost by country. Sorry, sum of cost by country. Sum of cost by country. So I can just add the zone needed for access. So I can just change this color to, yeah, that bright color. I can also change this home, change this color. So I can now take this, I will cut this and then paste it in the dashboard area. Paste that in the dashboard area. So I can just move this down and also move this down. And then I can paste that here. So Control Z. So I can add my chart here. So I just want to squeeze this down. And then squeeze this, zoom this down again. And then now my chart has enough space. So something like that. So once I have this, so I can zoom in like that, or I can zoom out like that. So that's just part of Microsoft Excel, how we can resize things the way we want. So I want to add the slicers. So I'll have to go to one of the pivot tables. So I go to pivot table, I go to like this pivot table, then I go to analyze. I now add the slicers. So I want to add a country. I want to add the products, the categorical cases. So I'll click on OK. And then I want to add a timeline. So I'll also do the same. Click on any, go to analyze, timeline, so that I can add the dates like that. So I can cut this, go to the dashboard, paste. So let me just resize this back to where they were, so that I can have enough space also for the slicers. That's why I had left some space this side. So I can have this slicer here, this timeline. So that is that. Timer for the date is there. So I'll just scroll down and also resize the other cases before I bring the other slicers that are remaining. So I'll put this one here. Sorry, Control Z. Yeah, somewhere there. So I can now add the other slicers from the pivot side here. So we have slicer for country. So I'll cut the slicer, bring them to the dashboard. So I'll also do the same for the product. So we usually produce the slicers for the categorical. So I think there is something that's active. So I'll just double click for it to be dead. Okay. Then go to the dashboard and paste. No, it's not there. So let me just produce it again. So I'll just go to click on any of this, analyze, add this. It was not timer, it was a slicer. So I'll click on slicer for product. I think it's for the product that is remaining. So I will cut it again here. I'll just copy it and then paste it here under dashboard. Sorry, this is a cell that is being copied, not the table I want. Just undo, yeah, like that. Copy, go to the dashboard, paste it, so that we can also have it here. So you can resize everything the way you want it to be. So that is it. So you can add a title to your chart. So for me, I can just put this down. Your dashboard, you can add a title to your dashboard. So I can just put this down. Sorry, I have to move. So that means that my chart also have to move down a little bit so that I can have enough space, or I can insert cells up here. Insert cells and shift cells down. Not insert cells, insert, supposed to insert entire row. Yeah, again, insert another row. Yeah, so I can take my slicers back where they were. Yeah. So I can add here title. When I add the title, I can add the links to the data set and so on. So for just these purposes, I'll just add a shape. So I can just do like this. And maybe I call this beyond data dashboard. So this is a shape. So I can leave the shape on its own. I can add a text box. So here I can insert a logo. Here I can insert a logo. So I'll just insert a text box. On top of the shape. So that now I can type here the title, maybe beyond data. Dashboard. So like that. So I can resize this where I want to see it. So under home, I can resize this to maybe to the center. So I can also maximize the size because it's a title. I give it an in-depth color and maybe maximize the title for my chart. So you can add the links to it, to different sources, and you can even add a logo to your chart. So all what we have just done here, we need it to interact. Click right now, only one sheet is interacting. When I click here, only one sheet is interacting. So we have to link all the sheets so that everything is working smoothly. All the charts. So for you to link all the charts, you can see here, only one sheet is one plot is working. So for us to link all that, so we start by linking the timer. So I right click and then go to report connection. Right click, you go to report connection here, and then you check these other boxes for the other pivot tables that we were producing. So only pivot table was linked to the table that we used. So you see everything has changed for this timer. So we can also do the same for the product and then for the country. So let me just remove the, I right click here, report connection. Check, you check here as well. You click OK. So this is also now applicable to all other lots. So you can even see that in the, I can just zoom in a little bit, zoom in again, little bit, zoom in again. So the sum of units sold was for the sum of units sold. This is sugar. Yeah, you see now it's a value and it's only for 1 month. So let me remove this date so that we can see those line charts well. So you see you can be able to see that how everything is changing. So we can do the same to, let me zoom in again. So we can do the same. I can also hide some other things here so that we can see our chart. Auto hide, just so that now we can see this well. So we can also link this country by reporting connection here. So that means that now when we click on a particular country, we can be able to see only the results for a particular country. The result for a particular country, everything for a particular country. So for example, India, we can see the profit for India is around for 50,000. The sum of cost by country, the sum of cost, this is not supposed to be by country, this is supposed to be by product. So you can see each product and its attributed percentage in terms of cost in that particular country. So maybe you can change also here. You see it's still high for a particular product is really high. This chocolate chip, and I think it's the one is having highest profit. So you see that's how everything is now working. You can see even the number of units sold by product here each month here. You can see that trend. So let me just remove this here. So that's what is happening with our charts here. So I can just unfilter everything so that it can go back to default. Yeah. So that is our dashboard that we built today in this short period of time, but we can be able to change the themes here. So let me show you how you can change the themes. Under page layout, you go to themes. So you can change even how you want your color, your visuals to be like once you've developed everything. So you can be able to choose how you want your everything to be like. Maybe for example, I choose that and then auto hide again my everything. So everything has been customized to a particular theme. I don't know if we are together. I don't know if we are together. So that's what we can have that, and we can also have another theme here. Can change to another theme here. So the theme will depend with the colors of the organization, and so on and so on. So that's what we've learned today. Yeah, so I'll stop sharing and ask if there is a question. And also, I would like to know, Jack. Jack, Faith is okay. Jack,
Yes.
yeah. So I don't know where you reached.
Yeah, I was able to follow up to the end,
Yes.
though I was not having my machine ready, but
Yeah.
I was able to follow up, and everything is clear. And I know, I hope we will find the recording of this.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah, today was very interesting. I liked today's lesson. It was very interesting. But
Okay.
I'm okay up to there. I'm not lost.
Okay. Thank you, Jackson, for that. Faith. Faith. Kahindi, if you can unmute, if you're in position of unmuting. We've just if I don't know where you left us, but we have already built our dashboard and is interacting. So I'll just like to find out where you've reached so far with your dashboard. If you're in a position of talking. If you are not also, we will really appreciate for that. Okay, okay. Thank you for your message. Okay, thank you. Yeah, that's really nice. Yeah, so that's what we've been able to cover today. Of course, if you want to learn more about dynamic charts, static charts in Excel, you can also look at our previous YouTube videos about dynamic charts. So we've been able to develop the dashboard. So in the next session, we'll be looking at data analysis. So this was data visualization. So we'll be looking at the data analysis, and we will separate the sessions into two. So next session, we will be looking at the what if analysis and maybe forecasting. And then on the final session, which will be day 5, we'll be looking at regression analysis and t-test if time will allow. That's hypothesis testing. Otherwise, thank you so much for joining our today's session.